and said, I could now look at how Jewish kids looked at the 1939 rally in Madison Square Garden. That pain has to be turned into you being empowered. And we've got a few days left to turn that around. When people will openly and proudly go and fill up Madison Square Garden and say the things they said, it should make you go to work, not go in your shell.
Right. And you really do wonder, parents who are proud Americans, who are raising their children to be proud Americans, who are from Puerto Rico, what do they say to their children after hearing that? It's really, I mean, my God, it just makes me sad as an American that Puerto Rican parents, that Americans who are from Puerto Rico are having to talk to their children this morning before they go to school so they won't be bullied because what was said at Donald Trump's rally last night. Let's bring in managing editor of The Bulwark, Sam Stein, and the MSNBC contributor and author of the book, How the Right Lost Its Mind, Charlie Sykes. Well, Charlie, your book, book title just says it all this morning. Again, everything that Ronald Reagan taught this Republican Party, our Republican Party, that led him to winning 49 states, that led him to a landslide victory in 1980, that allowed him to bring Americans together as he led the Reagan Revolution. All of those ideas were thrown out years ago as being irrelevant. They seem more relevant today than ever before, because if you want to reach an older man in Wisconsin, that's not how you do it. You do it by talking the way Reagan talked. And when it comes to immigration, talking about a country that opens its doors to the world, who still believes that it is a city shining on a hill brightly for all the world to see. That's it. Charlie, that's how we used to think when our Republican Party was our Republican Party, when it was Reagan's Republican Party.
You know, for the last 9 years, I have used that passage and read it to folks who are saying that somehow this is a continuation of conservatism, or what Ronald Reagan talked about. Ronald Reagan, you can't even imagine those words being spoken in Madison Square Garden last night. You can't even imagine any speaker saying anything remotely like that. Now, you asked an interesting question. What do the parents of Puerto Rican children tell their children about what they heard last night? What does any parent tell any child about the kind of hate and vulgarity and offensiveness and racism and insults that you heard last night? This is a hell of a closing argument that we're seeing right now, and I hope that we don't get numb to it, because what you saw last night was not a disciplined or a coherent campaign. This is Donald Trump's id, and we need to take that both literally and seriously. The threats he's making, the insults, the culture he's created. And I guess that's really what struck me. And to Mika's point, you know, that after 9 years, he has created a political culture where you can fill Madison Square Garden with people who listen to that and say, yeah, that's the message I like. 47% of Americans think, yes, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the mass deportations. I'm okay with the attacks on Latinos and Puerto Ricans and Jews, and, you know, talking about pimps and the attacks on Kamala Harris. I mean, this is a dark moment that we have right now, but I'm really glad that you're playing kind of the split screen of the closing arguments of the two campaigns, because I don't think the contrast could be much starker.
So Sam, let's talk a bit more about Kamala Harris and what she has to do, because a lot of time gets spent speaking about Donald Trump, and indeed she spends a lot of time speaking about Donald Trump as well. She's got this big speech on the Ellipse tomorrow night, on Tuesday night, a week out from the election. And the choice, I guess, for her campaign that they have to make is how much of this time is spent, as they have done over the last week or so, directing some of the message to Donald Trump and the threat that he poses, and how much of it is spent on her agenda and what she would offer to Americans. I know there's some debate within the campaign about the balance